So we made it to the last blog post of 2025. Oh my goodness, it's hard to believe. So we got 52 posts in here. And this week, of course, I've been really focusing on people who are new to legal bookkeeping and new to the system of working through it. And I thought that this last post of 2025, I wanted to focus on the common pitfalls in IOLTA bookkeeping, trust bookkeeping. How do you stay accurate and compliant? So for law firms, really from their perspective, mastering IOLTA bookkeeping isn't just about good accounting. For your attorney client, it's all about protecting the client trust and staying on the right side of ethics and compliance for their jurisdiction, their area that they work in. Unfortunately, even the most diligent bookkeeping professionals can run into challenges when they're managing IOLTA trust funds. And you're going to find this as the clients start to roll in that are looking for a bookkeeper or a trust accounting bookkeeper. They're going to come to you and they're going to say, my trust is a mess and I know it, and it really bothers me. I can't sleep at night. And I need someone like you who can help me fix the problem. I need someone like you to help me with this challenge so I'll be able to sleep at night. I'm so afraid that there'll be a random audit and I'm not going to be compliant. So it's not that they did anything completely wrong, but they just didn't track it properly. And that's where we come in and we give that client that peace of mind. So the best way to do this, especially if there's multiple client ledgers, is to keep up with the changing rules and look for the margin of error. It has to be very slim. Find out where did the trust go wrong. And the easiest way to do that is to pull up a balance sheet, make it all dates, and then sort it by year and start to find the year where it's unbalanced. And then shrink that down to the 1 year and then sort it by month and find the month that it went off. And sometimes when you're trying to find the mistakes, you even have to go into that 1 month and filter that by week to find out where it went wrong. And so the most of the time, the most common challenges that we've run into when working with law firm clients is they're managing a busy firm and they're juggling multiple trust accounts. So they may have more than one trust account for different purposes. Maybe they work in multiple states. Maybe they work in different kind of practice areas. Maybe there's real estate, so they have an escrow account and then they have a separate account for the other trust accounts. And so you really need to make sure that you track it, carry on with following the money. So you're going to look to see as the trust money comes in and you start to get enough money flowing in, you book it into that specific account. If you're using Clio, for example, it's all going to dump into the trust liability account, and it's our job to push it into the subledger so that we have that beautiful view that if they're ever told that they're under an audit, you're able to pull up those ledgers for the auditor, and it's easy peasy when it comes to the producing the records for the auditor. So we have to make sure that we don't have any missteps. It really comes down to workflow and working hand in hand with the people in the office, and any person who touches the money or has anything to do with the collection of money and the bringing the money in or billing or whatever. You want to have a good working relationship with all the people in the office that have to do with these trust funds. And you want to make sure that you have good processes in place when working as an outside firm for a law firm. So one thing I can tell you that if you are looking at doing this trust accounting on a spreadsheet, it's just setting yourself up for errors. I've seen so many creative ways that people create spreadsheets to track trust accounting. When they start out, it seems good, it's manageable, it's small. And then the firm starts to grow and then it becomes very quickly unmanageable. So please get out of those manual processes because that is going to cause data entry mistakes. You're putting yourself in a really risky place. I've seen it where the people will give me the spreadsheets and I find the formulas wrong or they're missing a line item, and there's plenty of ways that can go wrong. And you want to ensure that the way that your trust accounting is set up, you've got checks and balances and you've got ways to protect those funds at all costs. So you want to make sure that there are no compliance issues and no discrepancies. When you use an outside service like Clio, you're going to find that you'll see the mistakes really quickly and easily. You want to you want to navigate the compliance rules, and some of them are complex depending on the state. Like California, there's a lot of really new strict rules in place. I don't know if they're new, but they're definitely now being enforced. So you want to make sure that you know the ins and outs of exactly what is necessary especially in a bar audit, you want to know exactly what's needed and you want to always be prepared for that. I know that my case has a resource. I can't seem to locate it anymore, but they had a resource on their blog that had the whole United States, and you could pick the state and kind of select where the bar rules are. So know that's out there somewhere. And if not, just search for the bar rules, Trust Accounting Michigan or Trust Accounting Minnesota, and that will pull up that paperwork. Sometimes it's an old dumpy PDF, and sometimes it's flashy and nice in a website where you can see all the rules. But definitely look it up and become familiar with it, especially if you're working with a client in a state that you're not familiar with. Invest in the legal. The one thing you can tell your attorney client is to invest in the legal specific accounting software and find the legal specific billing software that connects to your accounting software. So if you're using QuickBooks, you want to make sure that they're using something that connects to QuickBooks that's going to integrate. You're going to have those checks and balances in place. So you want to find a system that's specific to law firms, that when you're doing a billing, like a Clio, like a lien law, something like that, choose a system that works specifically for law firms. It's going to give you that law firm feel, and it sits on top of QuickBooks. It's like putting the suit on the general accounting platform that will make it specific to law firms, but it's going to give you an easy way to get those compliance ready reports out of that other software. Reconcile regularly, very important. Review the data in detail. It's really monthly reconciliations are required. Even if you're in North Carolina and they're only required every quarter, you want to make sure that you are compliant and you're tracking every month. It's easier to find a mistake in a month than it is to try to find the mistake in a quarter. Let's just put it that way. And then you want to assign specific responsibilities to create internal controls, especially if there's cash flowing in and out of the office. Make sure that there's controls in place to track the cash. Immigration firms are famous for this, but you want to have controls in place that anybody who touches the money, it's never easy to put it in your pocket. And then the case or matter doesn't go through. You do not want to risk any fraud or mishandling of the funds. Educate and empower your team. Really make sure that anybody who touches the funds, there's a system in place. I can remember years ago, I was in charge of the petty cash. It was a drawer in my desk drawer that had a key and a lock. It was a very lame system. And there was no accountability to the system that was in place. And I had to produce a way to show the ins and outs of that money. So if one of the workers came in, this was at a construction firm, if one of the workers came in, I had a form that they had to sign if they needed reimbursement for something they paid for at the hardware store, those $27.39. I would pull that cash out, count it out in front of them, and I'd make them sign a report that said, a form that said that they had that $27.69. So the money was always being tracked in some way or fashion. You want to do the same thing with any cash coming in and out of a law firm. Same thing. You want to make sure that there's a process and a procedure to all of this. And really, to set up your firm for success, it doesn't have to feel daunting. If you have the right systems and structure and ongoing education, you want to be able to be certified and understand these programs that you're using to maintain accurate records. And you really want to make sure that you're maintaining compliance requirements. Have your staff or team make sure they read the compliance rules on the clients that they're working in, the states that they're working in. Most of the rules are pretty generic, but sometimes there might be an extra layer. Like in Florida, you have to keep a copy of front and back of any money being deposited into the trust fund. That's different than other states. So make sure that you have that digital copy of that. So if you're interested in learning more strategies and really brainstorming with others, we have the Accountants Law Lab. It's a fun mastermind group. You can join us there. Also listen to our podcast, the Accountants Law Pod. That's available too. And until we see you next year, Happy New Year. Bye now.